What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lucas Kitchen. Let's get cooking. Today we're going to be making homemade pasta, and the only tools you're going to need is a pasta drying rack and a pasta maker with all its attachments. Alright, so for the ingredients to make the pasta, what we're going to need is 400 grams of all-purpose flour and 4 large whole eggs, and then just a fork just to mix those eggs up later. Now let's get going with the pasta, and we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, by hands. Now we're going to put not necessarily all the flour, just leave a little bit there on the side just in case. Make it like a little funnel thing. And make sure you separate the eggs separately just in case, so if you get the shells in, you can easily take them out apart later. Get a little bit of the flour here. And once it gets to a semi-solid phase, you're going to start mixing it up with the flour that you have on the sides here. Now, it will get to a point kind of like this to where the fork is almost useless. So, because it's getting to a really solid point. So just take everything out, put the fork aside, and then just get everything mixing with your hands. As you can tell, I'm kind of folding it over on itself. This process is going to go on probably for about 10 minutes. Now, if you have a KitchenAid mixer, you can do it the exact same way. Just put the flour and the eggs in it and just let the mixer do the job. And that will probably take 5 minutes with the mixer. Alright, so almost 10 minutes later. And as you notice, I'm kind of like folding over and pushing. And folding over, push, fold over, push. You want to go on every angle. So you spin it, fold over, push. Spin it, fold over, push. Just kind of keep going with that. And you'll notice it's ready when the bottom is a little bit smooth. Just enough to where it kind of literally looks like a dough ball. And the bottom here, you want to close that. So you can either do it like this, or if you want, you can put pressure here on the surface But with all this stuff here in the way, it's a little easier to do like that. You kind of squeeze and pinch right here on the bottom. There you go. That's as good as it's going to get. That's perfectly fine. That's not a big deal. But we got the smooth on top. I'm just going to set it here. I'm going to clean up this work surface real quick. Alright, now that we have the dough ball ready, we're going to set this aside for a second. Now we have the extra flour. I know I said 400 grams, but it's fine if you have a little extra. That's the whole purpose of having extra, because if the dough is too moist, then you can add a little more flour to it. Now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And we're going to go ahead and put the time on it, which is 9:50. You're going to let it rest for about an hour or two. Alright, so it's been about a couple days. Now, not for the dough, but for something else. For this machine right here. I actually ended up kind of breaking it. It's fixable, but I wasn't able to fix it. At least not for now. I'll use it maybe again in a future video. Maybe we'll do a pasta making part 2. But this thing, all it does is it holds it into place right there. And that little noise right there is the screw inside of it that holds it to there. Now, this thing, without that holding it into place, maybe if I can get it to fix, I roll that, and that we don't have a set size, it just goes everywhere. So we're not going to use that. We're just going to go and use a rolling pin and the knife. So equipment part 2. All right, so we're going to go ahead, cut it in half and half again. We're going to use just 1/4 of the dough. Put it in flour so it doesn't stick everywhere. Get this rolling pin. You're going to start stretching. You want to get it as thin as you can get it, obviously. I mean, not using the machine is not going to get crazy thin. But as thin as you can go. Now, obviously when this happens, like that, you can fold it over till you get some kind of a rectangle going on. if you notice, every time we're stretching it, it's kind of shrinking back down. Or shrinking back, I should say. So what we're going to do is just let it sit for about 5 minutes. Because we're just going to let it, it's going to let the dough relax a little bit. It's going to stretch, or it's going to get back to where it's supposed to be, and then we're going to work on it later. But while you guys are waiting, we're going to go to food facts. Let's go. Pasta is the world's most accessible food, and almost every country has its own version. Most people say that pasta is traditionally Italian, and yeah, it's ours because it is. But it has a very ancient history to where it's almost impossible to determine who actually came up with it. This is because of the simple ingredients of flour and eggs, and because of the fact that you can use pasta in so many different ways. Alright, so we're going to get back at this, and hope you guys enjoyed the food fact. Now we're going to keep doing this. Woo-hoo. Without not do that, we're not going to do that. I'm going to add a little more flour. Both sides. Now, this is where we stop. Obviously, this is not as thin as we want it to be compared to the machine, but I'm going to show you guys how to make it a lot thinner after we cut it. What we're going to do is fold that, fold it over one more, do the same thing here, fold it over one more, give it just enough space right there because we're going to cut through with the knife. Separate that in half, and now we're just going to go cut. You can make it as thin as you want, make it like spaghetti. You can make it as thick as you want, kind of like fettuccine. We're going to go and do fettuccine. Actually, that's not too bad. Let's see the thicker one. Just trying to find one of those. But in the meantime, while we look for it, put a little flour there so that they don't all stick with each other. So they actually came out pretty thin. You can't find a thick one. But if you want to make them thin, just do that. Kind of see that there? Make it a lot thinner just by pulling it. All it is, all it takes. So again, sorry about that machine breaking, wasn't planning on that part. But the rest just repeat. Really easy to do. Just need a rolling pin and a knife. You can cook it right now if you want, or if you have a drying rack, you can put it up here. They're pretty dried out, obviously. These are like a day old, but I mean they're good. You can use it, leave it there, freeze it, however you want to store it. You put it in the freezer, they're good forever. You put it in the fridge. All depends about you guys. Thanks again for letting me cook for you guys. As you see, plan A didn't work, so we went with plan B. Now, don't forget to like this video, comment down below if you want to see me cook anything else for you guys in the future, and subscribe to keep up with all the dishes that I'm making, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.